A man dressed as a clown is left dying in a snowy landscape, while the man who did this to him quietly walks away. The scene is set in the Bois de Boulogne just outside Paris. It's early morning. The trees are bare. Snow covers the ground. Moments earlier, a duel has taken place. At the center, a man dressed as Pierrot, a tragic clown figure, is mortally wounded. His white costume is stained with blood, making the violence impossible to ignore. He collapses into the arms of another figure, often identified as a nobleman. A man still dressed in costume as a Venetian doge tries to save him, but it's too late. And then there's the killer. Dressed as an American Indian, he walks calmly away, accompanied by his second, dressed as Harlequin. He doesn't look back. His weapon is discarded. Feathers from his costume fall into the snow. Gérôme structures the composition with incredible control. The eye is immediately drawn to the Pierrot figure. His white costume creates a stark contrast against the gray winter landscape, making him the visual and emotional center. From there, the composition splits. On one side, we view life and urgency, figures leaning inward, trying to save him. On the other, detachment and departure, the killer walking away. This creates a psychological divide within the painting. The background reinforces this separation. A carriage waits in the distance, ready to carry the killer back to society, as if nothing has happened. Meanwhile, the foreground remains frozen in tragedy. Gérôme uses space not just to organize the scene, but to separate consequence from responsibility. The costumes are not just decorative, they're essential to the meaning. All of these figures have come from a masquerade ball, which means they are literally wearing identities that are not their own. Pierrot, traditionally a figure of innocence and melancholy, becomes the victim. Harlequin, often associated with trickery and performance, accompanies the killer. And the killer himself, dressed in an exoticized other, adds another layer of detachment, distancing the violence from recognizable society. What Gérôme captures here is not just a duel. It's the normalization of violence within elite culture. Dueling, though illegal in many places by the 19th century, still functioned as a ritual of honor among upper-class men. But instead of glorifying that ritual, Gérôme strips it of its drama. There is no heroic clash, no moment of triumph, only aftermath, cold, quiet, and irreversible, and perhaps most unsettling of all. The killer walks away without consequence. When this painting was first exhibited, it became an immediate success. Audiences were drawn to its drama, but also its restraint. Gérôme doesn't tell you how to feel, he simply presents the scene and lets the silence do the work. That ambiguity is what gives the painting its lasting power. Gérôme was one of the most successful academic painters of 19th century France. He trained in the highly controlled system of the École des Beaux-Arts and exhibited regularly at the Paris Salon, the most important art exhibition in Europe at the time. But what makes his work distinctive is his focus on psychological tension, often choosing to depict not the climax of an event, but the moment just after. This painting was exhibited at the Salon of 1857 and became instantly popular. Viewers were fascinated, not just by the drama, but by the strange, almost surreal contrast between elegance and violence. Gérôme doesn't tell you how to feel. He simply presents the scene and lets the silence do the work. That ambiguity is what gives the painting its lasting power. Is this a critique of dueling culture? A meditation on performance and identity? Or simply a beautifully constructed image of tragedy? There is no single answer. In the Duel After the Masquerade, Gérôme reminds us that the most powerful moments are not always the loudest ones. Sometimes they're the ones that happen after everyone else has already turned away.